My heart jumped into my throat because standing directly in front of me was
Talk about one of the worst celebrities, because he's so nice.
Our next story comes from Ansley. I tried selling my feet pics, but it didn't work for one reason. I promise I'm hot. Look at my feet. Our next story comes from Meredith. I might have never met the love of my life if he hadn't fallen down drunk and smashed open his face. Welcome back to Delve Deck Stories. Today we have some employee submitted stories.
Ooh, I hope no one reads my embarrassing past.
Ooh, I wonder if we will. These are all stories from our coworkers here at Boredwalk, including myself, Ansley, and Matt, who is not Gabe.
Surprise!
Our first story is from Meredith, our fearless leader, CEO behind the camera. Woo! She is watching over us always. And this is, what's the luckiest thing that ever happened to you from the Joy Deck? I might have never met the love of my life if he hadn't fallen down drunk and smashed open his face. Is the love of your life in the room with us right now, Meredith? Let's find out.
I did not know this was going to hit so close to home. All right, let's do it.
If I were making a film about my marriage, that would be the opening scene. It's too iconic to not start the story there. Picture this. It's Saturday morning in Washington, D.C. My future husband is on the floor of a strange apartment, naked except for a pair of boxer shorts, okay, Matt, adorned with garish big red hearts on them. Not his boxers, by the way. Big red hearts, that's like from a cartoon. That's not real.
I can't disagree with you, but it is true.
People don't own those boxers, Matt.
The guy who put these on me did.
Put them on you. Copy.
Hot. He's passed out under a couple of beach towels functioning as makeshift blankets. He comes to, and his cousin peers over him from a nearby couch saying, "Good morning. Have you seen yourself yet?" Matt feels a crinkly sensation on his face. He gets up to use the bathroom, still a bit drunk from the night before. He catches himself in a mirror, and he looks like Frankenstein's monster.
There were no bolts in my neck, but my face was real jacked up.
The cousin and some friends tried to patch up the gashes on Matt's face with bandages hours ago, but that went about as well as you'd imagine for a pack of drunk 23-year-old boys patching up their drunk 23-year-old friend. Matt realizes he was supposed to be at work an hour ago. He's working retail at Barnes & Noble. He calls work, apologizing for the delay as he hustles out of there to change and get what's left of his shift. How did he find himself in this position? Here's the part where we'd rewind to the night before. Cousin David comes to town for visits pretty often, and these two have been besties since they were little, even though they couldn't be more different. Matt's a floppy-haired, sensitive, artsy type. He wears skinny jeans. Where are your skinny jeans, Matt?
Well, I'm less skinny than I was then.
And tight band tees, and listens to Belle and Sebastian. Cousin David works in sales. He's a gym rat. He was in a fraternity. He likes to tuck his immaculately pressed shirt into his khaki pants. These two couldn't be more of an odd couple, but besties to this day. That's cute. Love that. Every time Cousin David would visit, he'd hype it up. We're going to hit the club. We're going to get drunk. We're going to meet girls. It's going to be legendary. Cousin David is like a real-life Barney Stinson. He even kind of looks like him.
If you can imagine a beefcakey Neil Patrick Harris, that's what my cousin looks like.
I can, actually. I can.
So Cousin David is visiting, and they're hitting the clubs in D.C. with a few of David's friends. The club they want to check out tells them they only have room for people paying for bottle service. So the boys all chip in to gain entry.
For bottle service, you're paying for the experience of being in like a VIP lounge
Yeah,
area.
with the,
But you get, you're paying $250 for this bottle of vodka, some plastic cups.
Yeah, no, bottle service is stupid.
And then a mixer of your choice. We went with cran.
The club is a bacchanalian spectacle, with beds lining the walls of the VIP room. Is this a sex club, Matt?
It's not a sex club, but they were trying to kind of, I think, cultivate sort of a harem vibe.
Yeah.
So, like, the VIP area, which is on the third floor, is like was like a walk up in downtown DC, and the VIP area was on the top floor. They had a bar on one side, and then the dance floor, and then on the other side along the wall they had beds. Just like
what if people hooked up in the beds? Would they stop them?
I don't know, but I also didn't see much of that going on. Like, people were like maybe kissing and making out on the dance floor, but I did not see people like making out on the beds.
Yeah. I feel like they're just asking for people to have sex in this club.
You're not wrong, and this was my first and only experience in this kind of environment.
People are sprawled out drinking and partying. A $200 bottle of Absolute materializes on a silver tray with cranberry juice, and Matt digs right in. As the night wears on, the vodka cranberries go from red to the palest of pink and even clear by closing time. Around 2 a.m., the boys make their way out onto the street, but one of their party gets into a tussle with the bouncer after having drunkenly stumbled out of his shoe on stairs on the way out. The reveler wanted his shoe back. The bouncer insists no re-entry. Matt is drunkenly wobbling. Just like, get the dude his shoe back. All right. Cousin David turns to break up the spat with the bouncer, and when he turns back to Matt, he finds him face down on the street, gushing blood and vomit. In his drunken stupor, he'd lost his balance and fallen right over face first. At least you weren't in the stupid fight. I hate when men fight.
Before that happened, I was peeing on the side of the building, like in plain view of everyone going up 18th Street.
Who of us haven't done that?
Yeah, my cousin tried to stop me.
Whoa! Learning a lot about death right now.
The guys take each one of Matt's limbs and haul him back to David's friend's apartment. They toss him in the shower fully clothed to rinse off the blood and puke. They bandage him up, set the wet, dirty clothes aside, and dress him in a pair of tacky, heart-clad boxer shorts that had been stuffed in the back of a drawer. Probably a Valentine's Day novelty gift from some long-forgotten ex-girlfriend. Matt passes out on the floor under some beach towels. By late afternoon the next day, Matt is working the register at Barnes & Noble, miserably hungover and looking like he just got out of a war zone. Cousin David sidles up and says, "So what are we doing tonight?" "What are we doing tonight?" Matt snaps back incredulously. "Look at my face. I look like something out of a horror movie." "Come on," Cousin David chides impishly. "I'm only in town one more night. We gotta go out." Matt relents but tells him no clubs, no bottle service, no liquor. We're going to my kind of place where I can get a beer and know how drunk I'm getting. Matt and Cousin David find themselves at the Black Cat, a hipster bar in Washington, D.C. The Strokes pour out of the speakers as a messy-haired kid mans the DJ booth. Beers are acquired, and the two begin chatting up girls. This is where I come in.
I was wondering. I was like, where does Meredith appear?
Cousin David spotted me across the room and pointed out that I looked like Salma Hayek. I do a little. She's the celebrity I get compared to most often. I'm in my 20s at this point and have just been through the classic 20-something cycle of love and breakups. I'd gone from a long-term post-college relationship that had developed into a bland friendship to a hot but short-lived fling with a rebound. Then I'd fallen too hard, too fast for a guy I'd only dated a couple months, but that breakup somehow seemed to take 3 times longer than the relationship itself, leaving me disenchanted with the thought of another romance.
It's always the situationships. It's always like the 3-month situationships that take you 2 years to get over.
I was going to focus on my career, enjoy some me time, go out partying, and go to Europe with my girlfriends. I hadn't ruled out the occasional casual makeout with a cute boy who entered my orbit, but I was most definitely not looking for a boyfriend, much less a husband. I was sipping vodka sodas with my friends and grooving to the playlist when Matt and Cousin David approached, trying to chat me up.
Yeah.
David turned on his classic sales guy charm, but stuck out like a sore thumb in the hipster bar with his freshly pressed shirt neatly tucked into his chinos. Was he there to sell us software or hear the newest Arctic Monkeys track?
He's like, I know you girls are here to get absolutely rocked off your asses, but can I just tell you that in 5 years you are going to want to invest into this company called Tesla?
I was polite but uninterested. My friends were bored and wanted to leave. Cousin David introduced Matt, and we chatted for a few minutes before my friends insisted they were ready to go home. We took off for the evening, me forgetting all about the exchange with my future husband before we were even out the door. Fast forward.
Unmemorable. So sorry.
Fast forward a few weeks later, and I'm in the Black Cat again when Matt sees me. He approaches me with a flirty grin and says, "Hey, Meredith, remember me? My cousin hit on you here a few weeks ago." I'm racking my brain for a spark of recognition, and a hazy memory of our exchange surfaces. "Right," I replied. "You should have been the one hitting on me instead." Forward, love it.
You said that?
She did. I was so freaked out by this. I was like,
You were like, so do I start? You're like, I like your eyes.
I literally was just like, I gotta get back to my friends. Bye.
Oh, you sweet thing. Oh.
At this point, Matt's injuries from his drunken escapade had healed, and he was adorable, exactly my type, really. The idea of spending the rest of my life with him didn't cross my mind, but I wasn't against the idea of a harmless little smooching with a cute stranger. He seemed taken aback by my forward response and mumbled something or other before making a hasty exit. I returned to my friends, rolling my eyes. "What do you mean you remembered my name, came right up to me to chat, and then didn't like my invitation to flirt with me? Weirdo!" The exchange fell away again like water off a duck's back, and I never would have thought about it again, except a month later I was at the 930 Club, a rock show venue that hosted all the ascendant indie bands at the time. I think it still does. I'm walking through the venue when I notice Matt. I kind of recognize him now. We've spoken twice. But before I can say anything, he stops me and says, "Hey, Meredith, remember me? My cousin hit on you at the Black Cat." Wow, you got one line.
That's it. That's all I got.
The funny thing is that Matt has said this to every woman.
Everyone's like,
Hey, you remember me? My cousin David hit on you. And some poor broad is just like,
I guess that happened.
okay, yeah, that
probably. Yeah. Yes, I remember you, Matt. You keep reminding me. When are you going to hit on me? We chat, we like the same music, we have the same interests. He's so cute, and I start to imagine a little fling with him. My friends want me to come back to them, so I tell Matt to give me his number and that we can hang out sometime.
Can I ask why you didn't, put on the old razzle dazzle?
The second time that we met, when she said you should have been the one hitting on me, I, against all odds, actually got a number the night that we met from some other woman with my face all covered in bandages and really nasty. And I am self-aware enough and was self-aware enough at the time to know I do not have the game to pull off dating multiple people at the same time. So I was like, I'm seeing this other person casually. Let me not get in over my head. So I just didn't really pursue it. But she was very memorable. And so I kept just wanting to, I guess, just have conversations with her whenever I would run into her. Because I would recognize her. And then, I also just don't want to come across as a creep. And so I didn't want to seem super aggressive. And so when she finally, said, "Why don't you give me your number and I'll call you?" Yeah. And literally that is the inflection. Like, she was exasperated. And so I think she finally realized, I'm going to have to take charge here, which is accurate.
I also feel like, Meredith seems like the type to be wanting or more comfortable pursuing. And that can be anybody in a relationship. It's been over 20 years and we are still hanging out to this day. Cousin David was the best man at our wedding and still one of our favorite and least relatable friends. I will be forever thankful he hit on me that night at the Black Cat because it led to me meeting the love of my life. I don't think there's anything wrong with meeting your partner, obviously, on a dating app. I think that's very common now, but I feel like stories like this are so much more
a meet
fun.
Cute is never, ever going to be one-upped.
Yeah.
It's very cute.
Our next story is from me. And it's "What's your not my proudest moment" story from the venting deck.
This is great that you wrote it and you're reading it.
I know, I feel weird about it, but You know, whatever. That was the assignment. I was rude to a very famous celebrity. Any
Salma
guesses?
Hayek.
Yeah. I worked at a grocery store for a while in West Hollywood that would get celebrity shoppers from time to time. Unfortunately, the biggest celebrity I ever saw in there also happened to come on a day where I was in a pretty terrible mood, which was truthfully most days, if we're being honest. I was at the register and staring into the void, wishing I could go home, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw someone get in my line. It was a pretty slow day, but I was not having it. I sighed and started going through the motions, ringing up their 2 items. I'd like to think I said, "How are you doing today?" But honestly, I probably just went through the transaction without saying anything that wasn't completely necessary. I asked if they wanted a bag. They said no. I asked cash or card. They said card. This entire time, I would not look this person in the face. I was being incredibly dismissive and basically making it known to everyone within a 5-foot radius of me that I am miserable and hated my job.
I mean, that's standard cashier SOP.
I
I feel like when
know.
I interact with the people who are like asking me questions about what I bought, like, "Oh, is this really good?" I'm just like, "Yes, that's why I have it." Like, you know, and then they end it with like, "Have a blessed day." I just want to be like, "Could you not?"
Yeah. To say I was radiating bad vibes is probably an understatement. I clicked the button for card and went back to staring into the void. After some time, I was like, why the hell is this taking so long? Does this person not know how to use the credit card machine? And glanced back at the register. They had requested cash back. Without a sorry for the delay, I sighed and opened up the register, got the cash, held it out to the customer, and finally made eye contact with them. My heart jumped into my throat, and I think I may have audibly gasped because standing directly in front of me was Channing Tatum.
Be serious, Tatum. Be an adult. Go to an ATM.
Talk about one of the worst celebrities, because he's so nice. She goes,
know.
I actually just want to say I really loved you when she's a man, and I just want to say thank you so much for Magic Mike, and I actually just didn't mean it, and you can have $20 plus my buy. And you just give it all.
It was truly like, and honestly, like Channing Tatum, I know is like known to be a sweet celebrity. He's not really like my type.
Yeah, mine neither.
But like truly in person.
Nice, yeah.
He was one of the most gorgeous people I've ever seen in
Really?
person. Like I was like, oh, I get it. Like I was like, holy fuck.
And then what did you do? You were like,
I was just
cash.
like genuinely, I think I just went. And he must have noticed that I recognized him because honestly, how could I not? Because he gave me a sheepish smile as I stammered, "Have a nice day." He walked away, and every single one of my coworkers was gathered at the register directly in front of me, wide-eyed and watching this all go down. I guess this was a good lesson in not being rude to customers in general, but maybe he was happy to be treated like a regular person for once. That's my only saving grace that I can tell myself, is maybe he was like, wow, she was mean to me.
Yeah, it's probably very refreshing for him. He probably doesn't get that a lot.
Honestly, he was like,
Yeah.
Except for that, like, it truly, like, I feel like I, like, looked up and I was like, and then he, like, left and, like, I feel like it was, like, he passed my vision and then it was all my coworkers just, like, I hope that someday I get to meet Channing Tatum in a personal sense and I'll be like, do you remember when you went into this specific store? I'll say, I know exactly what you bought.
what was it?
It was vegan chocolate chip cookies and honey sesame cashews.
Healthy King.
Our next story comes from Ansley.
Oh, God.
And it's, what was just a phase for you from the original deck? I tried selling my feet pics, but it didn't work for one reason. When I was unemployed in 2022, I was down bad for some cash and was looking at any avenue I thought might work to pull some fast money in. I had heard that women were making an entire living selling their feet pictures to nasty men on the internet, and I figured I could certainly do that.
Is there any other kind of man on the internet?
I made an account on Feet Finder and started filling out my profile. You were able to remain faceless, and that appealed to me. I was sick of being objectified by icky caca men, but figured if there was a way to profit off it, I could at least try. Well, I had just been traveling in Europe for a few weeks. And even though I had worn sandals in all my hostel showers, I still somehow managed to contract the nastiest case of athlete's foot I'd ever had. I love, like, what you're just like, I should do this now. I shouldn't wait for this to clear up.
Okay,
I should do it now.
So you know
Doesn't
what's
have
funny?
money for a petty.
I didn't realize that I had athlete's foot until
Someone
it's
pointed
like
it out?
no, like I don't even remember. It was just like it was my feet were just feeling so weird, and I'd like gone and gotten like a pedicure thinking they were just dry. Like I have never
Oh
really
my
had
God.
athlete's foot before, so I didn't understand. And then when they had done the pedicure and it still looked like there was stuff happening, I was like, okay, maybe it's just like a bunch of dry skin. So then I tried to take care of it, and then I was like, no, this is like not feeling natural. Like my feet feel like swollen and heavy, but I had already made the account.
I didn't realize it for some time because honestly, it took a while to get as bad as it was. But when I thought my feet were just dry, I realized they were infected. I thought at first, there goes my career as a foot model. Then I thought, there's got to be some nasty creep out there who likes this, though. So I went all out. I agree.
There probably is a tag on Feet Finder for, like, you know.
Well, if there was, I didn't find it.
Maybe they've stepped up the game in the last couple of years. I don't know.
Had an entire photo shoot centered around my athlete's foot. I wasn't sure what people usually like to see on that side of the internet, so I just did it standing on rocks. On rocks? Holding things with my toes.
This is
The
like some
weirder I
outsider
figured, the
art
better.
stuff.
I marketed several photos set as hottie with athlete's foot on rocks. Hot girl with nasty feet for creeps, no face. I promise I'm hot. Look at my gross feet. The worst part about this, I figured the only way to get a solid clientele was to list my feet pics for $5, a low price to entice the nasty onlookers. When no one decided to take the bait, I took it a step further and tried to individually message users whose profiles said they were active, but still no luck. So my career as a foot model never came to fruition, but at least I have a good story to tell about it. Yeah, I think that you needed a different website for the crusty feet.
I just love the idea of going to lengths to kind of like gussy up crusty fungus infected feet.
It's like if it weren't a violation of the HR we don't have, I would show you guys.
I am the HR department at Boredwalk for all intents and purposes, and you are correct. That would be a violation. I do not want to
Do
see.
not show us your feet.
Not
and
because they're my
stop
feet,
it.
but because they're infected. You guys
it.
can be honest. It's fine.
Our next story is from Ansley.
Oh man, 2 in a row. Yeah.
Oh
She
my.
really wanted to be
Yeah.
extra vulnerable. And it's What's Your No Good Deed Goes Unpunished story from the venting deck. I got a lecture from a homeless woman I tried to feed.
Yeah.
Was it your feet?
Well,
Was it your
she might have
cooking?
appreciated those more than what I tried to give her.
Oh my.
One morning, I was absolutely craving a delicious, crispy hash brown from only the finest breakfast cuisine, McDonald's. So I loaded my pajama-clad body into my beat-up Mazda and made the journey to my nearest establishment, 5 minutes away. As I'm in line for the drive-thru, scrolling my McDonald's app to see what available deals there are. Yes, I have the app, sue me. I looked out my passenger window and saw something that twinged my heart. It was a small woman under a dirty blanket all alone in the McDonald's parking lot. Obviously, I knew she was homeless, and I thought, well, I'm hungry, so maybe she's hungry too, and decided I would order 2 of my breakfasts so she could have one. A hash brown breakfast sandwich topped off with an orange juice, a true American breakfast. So I collect my 2 bags from the window, make a U-turn to get back into the parking lot. The entire time I'm nervous about getting out and walking in front of all these people in their cars in my pajamas to feed a woman. So I parked, braved my fears, and stepped out of the vehicle. I get to the woman. Excuse me, miss? Her head pops out from under the blanket, and to my shock, I see that she was doing something that rhymed with schmeroin right there in the McDonald's parking lot. What?
Yeah.
She barked at me. I got you some breakfast in case you were hungry. She takes one look at the McDonald's bag in my hands and says, get that shit away from me. I don't want it. It's terrible for you. Yeah, Ansley, you gross.
This was one of those moments where, because I kid you not, like the drive-through line is here, she's right here. So I know all these cars are like watching me walk out to feed this woman. And I'm like, this can go two ways. Either I look like I'm at attention, or I'm literally just trying to feed this woman. And so then I'm in my pajamas and I hand it to her. And when she said that, the look on my face, I tried to school it because I was like, what if they're watching? And I was like, wow.
Like, okay.
Great.
I thought to myself how incredibly ironic that was, considering she was doing Schmerowin in a McDonald's parking lot.
Yeah.
But I asked again just to be sure. Are you sure? I have orange juice, a hash brown, a sandwich. I said I don't want that shit. It's full of microplastics. You shouldn't be eating it. Seriously, I'm trying to help you out here too. She's like, girl, I'm more worried about you. Here, stick this into your veins. It'll be good for you.
She goes, shoot this up. It'll show you some shit you never seen before.
Are you sure you don't even want the orange juice? Get it away from me. So I took my second breakfast and moseyed back to my car, trying not to seem too embarrassed that a woman doing Schmerowin had just lectured me on what I was putting into my body.
Yeah, and what's funny is I told that story for my TikTok, and then the response that I was classist and elitist for trying to feed a woman and being surprised that she didn't want it. They go, you know, homeless people have standards too. And I was like, I think we're looking past the point of the story here, which was that I just thought if I was hungry, maybe someone else was hungry. A woman doing heroin thought McDonald's was worse for me than that.
Our final story is from Matt.
Woo!
Oh, yeah.
And it's what caused a lot more drama than it should have from the venting deck. My toddler twin brothers left my mom sobbing on the floor on Christmas Eve. When I was a kid, my parents had a tradition of going to my mom's best friend's house on Christmas Eve for a party and gift exchange that also doubled as a play date for my little brothers and our aunt's kid who were around the same age, which my dad hated attending. He wanted to enjoy his day off to lounge around in his PJs, eat cookies, and enjoy his freshly unwrapped gifts. We always unwrapped a few gifts the day before the main event in our family. This always led to tons of drama and arguing between my parents that led up to the party. Oh my God, did we have the same family, Matt? Okay.
Is it really a Christmas without one screaming, someone pulling other by the hair fight? Is it?
Not in my family.
No.
Yeah, I stayed home this last Christmas, so I chose peace.
Yes. Yeah. Even as a 9-year-old, I wondered why my mom didn't just go by herself and have a good time and let my dad stay home with us kids. This particular year, my mom had just freshly scrubbed the house and left my twin brothers to play downstairs while she was getting ready for the party. I could already hear tempers flaring upstairs over the party between my parents. At the time, we had this small cabinet off to the side of our dining room where we kept our various condiments, dressings, dips, syrups, etc. Normally, this was locked with a small latch. Oh my gosh, these are sacred.
Not that you need a key. It was just like a little thing that you just
okay.
flip a little
I
latch
was
to
like, they're
get in
like-
there.
It'd be so Midwest to be like, our guns are out on the wall and our condiments are locked.
Who used
tight."
Mama's special sauce? Who used Mama's special sauce? That's only for Easters.
Normally, this was locked with a small latch, and up to this point, I guess my parents and I had just assumed that my brothers were too young to know how to get into it. But what happened that day let us all know that they were much more observant and smart than we'd previously thought. While my parents were bustling around getting dressed and snipping at each other, and I was quietly reading, the twins had opened the cabinet and gotten their hands on one of those, at the time, newly launched unbreakable plastic ketchup bottles that Heinz had just come out with. This was the late 80s, early 90s. Not a huge deal, though, right? I mean, Heinz literally used the word unbreakable on the label. This is the Titanic. This is all. You don't call a ship unsinkable. You don't call a bottle unbreakable. And the TV ads for this squeeze bottle at the time even showed the bottles being dropped on the floors without any damage or leaking. If you can't trust Heinz, who can you trust?
They definitely knew who
Good
they were
point.
marketing to with this product launch. Like, not vividly remember the commercials, but I do remember the TV commercials at the time. They were basically showing harried mothers trying to get groceries in from the minivan, and then like condiment bottles falling out of a grocery bag and hitting the floor and not shattering.
Are you a woman with a useless husband who won't even help you carry in the groceries? Us too.
Instead, she had a useless oldest child who was not doing a very good job of keeping his younger brothers from making a mess.
You were reading.
Child. Yeah, I think that's on the parents. Well, one of the twins somehow managed to smash the bottle onto the floor at just the right angle that the seam along the side of the bottle split and it exploded, flinging streams of ketchup all over the carpet and some sort of tomato-based Jackson Pollock, and leaving the room looking like a murder scene straight out of an episode of Dexter. Ketchup everywhere. My mom was not thrilled with the twins, but she was also no stranger to child-related messes by now. She went ahead and started cleaning up the living room, and the two of them, which put her way behind getting ready for her friend's party.
Where was your father?
Stewing about the fact that he had to put on a Christmas-themed sweater vest or something.
Being a man. Once the ketchup explosion was cleaned up, my mom went back into my parents' bedroom to continue getting ready for the party and bickering with my dad. Were the twins satisfied with the mayhem they'd already caused thus far?
Please don't tell me.
Definitely not.
Okay.
They waddled back into the dining room, reopened the cabinet, and this time pulled out a jar of molasses and smashed that thing all over the carpet, right on top of the freshly scrubbed spots that had just been cleared of the ketchup and were still damp. Now the rug, the twins, and everything else was covered in a layer of sticky goo.
Call me crazy, but at this exact moment, I would have said, so Santa just called and your house is off the fucking roster.
Mom rushes back through the kitchen and into the dining room to see what all the noise is, sees that the twins have now made a new, even worse mess, and immediately bursts into tears at the sight of it. She was able to roll with the ketchup incident, but this new mess in the same location not 10 minutes after she'd cleared up the first one. Now it's Christmas Eve, everyone is sticky and crying, no one is happy, and Mom's excitement for the party had completely disappeared and been replaced by exhausted sadness and anger.
Yeah, it really broke her. I remember.
Yeah.
It was like she was so upset that I don't even think tears were like coming out. It was just like so many negative emotions couldn't get through the door.
It's just that breaking point.
Yeah.
I made myself scarce, wanting no part of the sobbing, volatile mom bomb that was tearfully sprinkling flour onto the molasses to help neutralize some of the stickiness before blotting it up, while my dad and I spent the next hour acting like human straitjackets on my brothers to prevent them from wreaking any more havoc before we all left for the party. You still went to the party.
We still went to the party.
Yeah, she deserves it. Your mom deserves it.
Also, point of order. If my brothers listen or watch this, Rob, you know it was you. You're always the instigator.
Rob.
He was the first one out of the two of them, and he was always the one that started it.
I spent the rest of the day quietly reading and trying not to do or say anything that might contribute to another emotional outburst. And my dad spent the entire party pretending he was happy to be there, while also keeping his eyes glued to the twins to make sure they didn't demolish someone else's house. Nothing says holiday spirit like twin terrors trashing the house before a Christmas party. What a gift. Yep, don't have kids, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I just feel like, I don't know. They just seem to like cause chaos.
I don't want to get canceled. Like,
cause
dude,
chaos as well, and that makes me mad. But I don't have to take him anywhere. So.
Not trying to cause chaos like Chapel Rowan, but again, this just breeds in. A lot of people are happy until they have kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is it for Delve Deck Stories. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this episode, you can like, subscribe, and check out some of our other videos. And if you have a fun story that you would like to share, hey, we did it. You should do it too. Go to share.delvedeck.com.
Okay, bye.
Bye.